near future tense. So we are going to look at how this tense is formed. So that is what we are going to look at. Now, we are saying, well, what is le futur proche? So we want to understand the near future in French. I hope you can see the slide. You can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So le futur proche expresses an action that is going to happen in the near or immediate future, equivalent to going to. So in English, we have what? Going to, something you are going to do in the near future. So how do we express this in French? So we can use the futur proche for planned actions. That is, things you plan or intend to do. So if you plan something or you intend to do something, we normally use the futur proche tense for that. So that if I have an example here like je vais étudier ce soir. Je vais étudier ce soir. This is a plan or intended action, something you intend to do. So you realize that we have the verb étudier, which is what? To study. Then we also have the verb aller, which came before étudier. So we are going to see that normally we'll need the verb aller a lot in this tense. Aller has to come. So this example is I am going to study. This is something that what you intend to do. Then imminent actions. And so things about to happen very soon. So if I say, for instance, attention, elle va tomber. Careful, it's going to fall. So this is imminent. Something, let's say a baby is on a table and the baby is about to fall off the table, that is imminent, something that is going to happen very soon. So you can say, attention, elle va tomber. And the verb tomber means to fall. So that is why we say what? Elle va tomber. Attention, elle va tomber. Okay, then near future events. Events expected to happen soon. Like if I say, elle va arriver demain. Elle va arriver demain. She is going to arrive tomorrow. She is going to arrive tomorrow. So that is what? Something that is going to happen soon. Right? Okay. Now, how do we form this tense? The formula or la formule. How do we form it? Now we have what we call the subject. We all know that in English, even in English, before we form a sentence, we have the subject. So the subject can be je. We normally use the pronouns for as a subject. So je, we know the meaning of je. When I say je, we know it means what? I. What about tu? With the pronouns, we did the pronouns last semester. When I say tu, what's the meaning of that pronoun? Who can tell us the meaning of tu? Tu.
You.
You, okay. So we understand. We know all the pronouns. What about il?
He.
She.
He, then L will be
Okay. She.
L is if it's L is he. Yes, L is she. Then we have what? Nu. Nu. What is nu? Last time what we say nu means nu. Nu.
No,
N-O-U-S.
what is no?
Nu.
Second person plural.
Yeah, but what's the meaning of nu? It's like it's first person plural. Nu. If I say nous allons manger. Nu, what's the meaning? Because after J, yeah, nu is we.
We.
We. Yes, please. It's too early to forget though. So we have nu. Nu is we. And we said that vous is what? What is vous?
You.
Yeah, très bien. So you. That is second person plural. Yeah? That is why we say we have two forms of the you. But one is singular, which is tu, and we have the vous, which is the plural. Then we also have the il and l, the plural ones, and third person plural, the they. Remember? So we need to know the personal pronouns. Normally, they form the subject most of the time. So we are saying that the subject must come first if you have to form this tense, plus aller. We know aller means what? Aller is the verb which means
to go.
très bien. So aller is the how do you call it? To go, right? It is the verb that is a very important part of this tense. We have to always have it before we can have the tense will be complete. So we are saying that first we must have your subject, then you add what? The aller. Now aller has to be in the present tense. Aller must be in the present tense. D'accord? Then it is followed by an infinitive verb, the main verb. So whatever you want to do, that one is that main verb, the infinitive. Now we are saying if the verb is in infinitive form, what's the meaning? We also talked about the infinitive form of a verb last semester. If I say a verb is in its infinitive form, what does it mean? You need to know that. Who can tell us? Qui peut nous expliquer? If you look at the example here, the example that we have, je vais, can you see the example? Je vais manger. Je vais manger. Now, you see that we have the subject. What is the subject there?
Je
vais manger. Okay, très bien. So if je is the subject, now if you look at it, you see that we have aller, which has been conjugated, because we need to know how to conjugate aller in the present tense. If not, we can't conjugate or we can't form this tense, because aller always has to be conjugated in the present tense before we add the infinitive form of the verb. So you see, aller, and the verb is what? Aller, and now it is followed by the verb manger, which is in the infinitive. Now we are saying that the infinitive form of a verb is the form of the verb which has not been conjugated, the raw form. So the rule says that always your subject will come, followed by aller in the present tense, right? Then the infinitive form of the verb will come. Now I am going to eat. The main verb is to eat, because that is what you want to do, right? To eat is the main verb. That is what you want to do. But we are saying that there must be a subject followed by aller in the present before you add your main verb. So the moment you have these three things, it means that you are conjugate or you are forming the what? Future proche tense. Look at the next example here. Je vais parler. Je vais parler. You see, we have a subject which is je, followed by the verb aller, which is vais. Then parler is the infinitive, meaning what? I am going to speak. Right? So we need to be able to conjugate the verb aller in the present tense before we can form this tense. Is that clear? Are we understanding it?
we must say.
Okay. So let's go on. So for instance, if I want to say we are going to eat, how are you going to say it? How would you say it? You must conjugate aller, the present tense. We are going. Now we know what we is. We in French is what? We have already said we is nous. So we are going to eat. How would you say it? You can raise your hand if you have the answer. Then we are going to eat. Because first of all, you should know the pronoun you are using, followed by the conjugation of aller in the present tense. Then lastly, the infinitive form of the verb you want to use. So we are going to it. How will you say that? Any idea? Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un qui peut me donner la réponse? Any answer?
Let me try. I want to try.
Okay. Okay.
Nous allons manger.
Nous allons
Nous allons manger.
manger. Très bien. Yes.
Manger,
The verb is
manger.
manger. Okay. Merci beaucoup. So you see, once you are able to conjugate aller, you can, form this tense. But if you can't conjugate aller, then you'll be struggling because you need the subject followed by aller in the present tense before the verb that you want to use, the main verb. Okay, so let's go on. At least we have an example, means we are getting it much more. Tapas, Usakas. Tapas, are we okay? So far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are saying that we need Ale, definitely. Yeah? Ale has to be conjugated, or it might be part of the future brush. Right? So we are saying that Ale is an irregular verb. You must memorize its present tense forms. So these forms are the foundation of the future brush. Yeah, so as I said earlier, it's important to be able to conjugate Ale, especially for this tense. If you don't even remember Ale, but you need to know it before you can form this tense, le futur proche. So let's look at the first one. We are conjugating, the red part is the word Ale, which has been conjugated. But you see that we added the subject. So it's an example. Look at we are saying always for Ale, we have je, then it was je vais, which means I go or I am going. Tu is what? Tu vas. You see the way it's conjugated, which means you go or you are going. So for aller, for je, you see that we have an example like je vais chanter. I am going to sing. Je vais chanter. Right, then we go to tu, which is what? Tu vas. So you go or you are going. So you are going to dance. Tu vas danser. That's an example there. Then il, elle, on va. Il, elle, on va. So he goes, she goes. All right. So il va travailler is what he is going to work. Okay. Then we have nous. Nous allons. The example that he just gave. Nous allons voyager. Nous allons voyager. Which is what? We are going to travel. We are going to travel. Okay. So nous allons voyager. We are going to travel. Then we have vous allez manger. Vous allez manger. You are going to eat. Vous allez manger. You get it. Then the last one, il ou elles vont. So you see that aller has been conjugated here for you. Je vais, tu vas, il, elle, on va. Nous allons, vous allez, il, elles vont. So if you don't remember anything, at least for aller, before you can have this tense, you should be able to conjugate aller like this in the present tense, and that is here for you. Before you add the verb you want to use, the main verb. So that is why we have given you aller, the present tense conjugation. We've given you an example. So if I want to say, for instance, they are going to leave, ils vont partir. Ils vont partir. They are going to leave. Ils vont partir. Okay. So that is how it is. Aller has to be conjugated in the present tense before we add the infinitive form of the verb. So when you realize that always after the subject and the aller has been conjugated in the present tense, what follows is the infinitive word verb. Okay. Now, yes, so look at the structure, how to form it. Okay. So forming positive sentences. So we have already said that there's always subject, which is sujet, plus what? Aller au présent, the aller present tense. Then we have the infinitive. So I am going to speak in French. Je vais, or I'm going to speak French. Je vais parler français. Je vais parler français. So you see that we have the je, which is the subject, then the verb, which is the aller conjugated in the present tense, plus parler. Right? So je vais parler. That is how the structure is. Okay, then we have tu vas lire un livre or tu vas lire un livre. You are going to read a book. Tu vas lire un livre. You are going to read a book. Yeah. So you see that over there we have tu vas. Tu en vas, which is what? You are going. So that is where the subject has come, which is tu, then va, the aller, followed by lire, to read. Okay. Then elle va préparer le dîner. Elle va préparer le dîner. Now here, who can show me the subject? We have the subject, which is what? Elle. Okay, it's already there for you. Then the va is what? The aller is the va, followed by préparer. So that part, or these three, form what? The YouTube brush. Any other thing is not part of it, but the main thing that makes this YouTube brush is what? Elle, the sujet or the subject, va, aller, then plus the infinitive form of the verb préparer. She is going to prepare dinner. Nous allons jouer au foot. Nous allons jouer au foot. So we are going to play football. So nous is the subject allons is part of what the aller that has been conjugated. Then we have jouer, which is the infinitive form of the verb. Au foot. Vous allez écouter la radio. You are going to listen to the radio. Right? Vous allez écouter la radio. You are going to listen to the radio. So here we have what? Vous, which is the subject aller, which is the verb aller, which has been conjugated, followed by the infinitive form of the verb. Ils vont regarder un film. Ils vont regarder un film. They are going to watch a movie or a film. So you see, here too we have the same structure there. So who can point out the subject there? You know, this one should be easy. Where is the subject in that sentence? Ils vont regarder un film.
Il.
Okay, très bien. Then the aller is where? Which one is the aller? Which means the aller? Aller.
The vont.
All right. So vont, très bien. Then the infinitive verb there is what?
Film.
Infinitive form of the verb. Where is it?
Is the regarder.
C'est
Regarder.
regarder. Going.
Très bien. So you see that always there are three things involved. Always there are the subject followed by the aller, then the infinitive form of the verb. So these are examples of the future brush for you. So it's a very simple tense. You need to know what goes into what forming that tense. Okay. All right. Then we go to. It can also be used in what negative sentences. And so normally, if you have to form the future brush in the negative, then we have what the subject, then plus ne, ne. Then in between the ne and the pa, the pas, the pa, then that is where the aller will be. You see? Then the infinitive form of the verb will follow. So look at the affirmative one, the positive one. We have je vais travailler. If I say I am not going to work, then you see that between the verb or there's ne followed by the verb, then pas. That one means you are negating it. Negative. So je ne vais pas travailler. I am not going to work. Right? Tu vas partir. You are going to leave. But if I want to say you are not going to leave, that is the negative. You realize that before the va, then the ne will come. That is how French people negate their sentences most of the time. So je ne vais pas. After the va, there's a pas. So ne and pas, they are the negative. They help to negate a sentence. Ne pas. Right. So tu ne vas pas partir means that you are not going to leave. Then we have il va manger. He is going to eat. But if I say he is not going to eat, that one is what? Il ne va pas manger. So always there to negate it, there is what? Ne and the pas. But the aller will always be between the ne and the pas. Right? Now look at nous allons voyager. We are going to travel. Now the negative we say what? Nous n'allons pas voyager. Why do you think for the allons we have n apostrophe instead of ne, the full one? Who can tell me? Instead of nous ne allons pas, we have nous n'allons pas voyager. Why do you think the n is now n apostrophe rather than ne? You pay no explication. Any idea? All right. So if you look down, you see that we are saying ne plus vowel because it becomes what n apostrophe. Now along is starting with what e, which is a vowel. That's why we didn't say nous ne allons pas voyager, but it becomes what nous n'allons pas voyager. The same will apply to vous n'allez pas. Vous n'allez pas sortir. Aller there also starts with a vowel. So these are some things you should know when you are doing a negation. Okay. So yeah. Then we are saying asking questions with le futur proche. Asking questions with le futur proche. So normally, if you are asking a question, you can use intonation. So if you want to ask, at times you have to simply raise your voice at the end of what the sentence or what you are saying. So if I say tu vas partir, you see, so I've raised my voice at the end of it. Tu vas partir. Tu vas partir, it means are you going to leave? It's a question. So over there, you see that we have. You can show me where the subject is in tu vas partir. Where is the subject?
The subject is true.
Tu. Très bien. And then we have the infinitive verb. Which infinitive verb are we using?
The partir.
Partir. Très bien. So you realize that after the tu, which is the subject, we have the aller, which is the verb aller, to go, which has been conjugated in the present tense. And then the infinitive follows. Tu vas partir is a question. Are you going to leave? Right? Then we have another example. Elle va travailler demain. So at the end, we see that we raise the voice. Elle va travailler demain. Is he going to work tomorrow? Right? Is he going to work tomorrow? So over there, there's there's aller, which is the va. Then travailler is the verb to work. Demain, tomorrow. Okay. Then another way of asking questions is what? Introducing SQ. As you can see, number 2. We pronounce it what? SQ. SQ. So if you are not raising your voice, you can also bring SQ before the subject of the sentence. Then that will mean that you are asking a question. So if I say, est-ce que tu vas partir? Est-ce que tu vas partir? That alone, once I introduce with est-ce que, the person knows I am asking a question. Est-ce que tu vas partir? Are you going to leave? So that is another way of asking questions. Est-ce qu'il va travailler? Right, so is he going to work? Est-ce qu'il va? Okay. Then inversion. Inversion is what? Written or formal usage. So aller and the subject. And subject. Normally inversion means what? Instead of, for instance, tu vas, we are now saying vas-tu. Vas-tu. We have inversion. There's an inversion that we have turned the thing after, we have exchanged where the tu must be and the va. So instead of saying tu vas partir, we say what? Vas-tu partir? That's another way of asking, are you going to leave? So inversion. Look at nous allons voyager. Now you're saying what? Allons-nous voyager? Allons-nous. Instead of nous allons voyager, you say allons-nous. So there's an inversion there. That is making it what? Like a question. You're asking a question. Okay, so just like when people say comment vas-tu instead of comment tu vas, somebody can say comment vas-tu, but I should have been comment tu vas. So it's an inversion there. Then common infinitives to use with le futur. So, normally we have said that what after the verb aller in the future clause, there is what? The infinitive form of the verb. The infinitive form of the verb. So always these are some infinitive forms we have given. So common verbs like manger, manger, to eat, parler, to speak, jouer, to play, travailler, to work. So these are some verbs there. Écouter, to listen. Voyager, to travel. Acheter, to buy. Then we have IR verbs like or RE verbs like partir, finir, choisir, dormir, vendre, attendre. These are all IR and ER. There are some RE verbs that we can use for the future plus common infinitive. And we also have irregular verbs. We have already told you that irregular verbs do not have a common conjugation pattern, and they are different. The way they conjugate them is different. That's why they are called irregular verbs. I hope you remember when we talked about irregular verbs in the first semester. Ou bien? Do you remember that we
Yes,
did
sir.
something like that? Okay. So these are some infinitives, and always remember that the or the subject and the verb always come before the infinitive verb when we are talking about le futur proche or the near future tense. At this point, is there any question? Est-ce que vous avez bien compris? Do you understand what we are doing? It's quite a very simple thing. If you don't understand, let me know. Then we go back before we continue. It's a very simple thing, so we'll finish very soon. It's not something that all you need to know is be able to conjugate aller in the present tense, and you also know the infinitive form of the verb you are using. That is all. The very simple tense. So I believe we are all good to go. We are all okay. We can continue. Est-ce que je peux continuer?
Oui. Oui, monsieur.
Donc, on continue. Okay, then now the time expression. So you are saying what? Time expressions with the future clause. So these time markers help signal that you are using the future clause. And so normally, because you are saying mostly the future clause is used for something that will happen, soon. We normally use some time markers like bientôt, which is what? Soon. So that if I say il va arriver bientôt, it means what? He will arrive soon. Or he's going to arrive soon. Okay? He's going to arrive soon because aller is there, so always going to. Demain is one. Je vais étudier demain. I'm going to learn or study tomorrow. Say weekend. So weekend means if I voyager, say weekend, he will travel or he's going to travel this weekend. Dans un moment, in a moment. Dans un moment means in a moment. Ils vont arriver dans un moment. They are going to arrive in a moment. Next month, les mois prochains. Les mois prochains is also another time marker. We have ce soir. Ce soir, which is this evening. Is also something that is close or near. Demain matin. Demain matin, tomorrow morning. So demain is tomorrow. If you add the morning, which is matin, means tomorrow morning. Tout à l'heure, in a little while. So tout à l'heure can mean in a little while. On va manger on va manger tout à l'heure. We are going to eat in a little while. And la semaine prochaine, next week. So the semaine prochaine. We know semaine is week. So next week is la semaine prochaine. La semaine prochaine. Ce soir, which is what? Tonight. Ce soir, nous allons regarder un film. Ce soir. We are going to watch a film or movie this evening. Okay, then for sentence practice, we are saying that we can say for positive, we can say je vais étudier ce soir. I am going to study tonight. I am going to study tonight. Then the negative word, je ne vais pas étudier ce soir. Je ne vais pas étudier. I am not going to study. So we have negated it. Then there's a question that we said normally we can introduce the question with what? Est-ce que? Est-ce que? So, est-ce que tu vas étudier ce soir? Are you going to study tonight? So that's also a question. Then we have the next one, which is nous allons partir demain. We are going to leave tomorrow. We are going to leave tomorrow. Nous n'allons pas partir demain. We are not going to leave tomorrow. Then the question is there. Allez-vous partir demain? Are you going to leave tomorrow? And so we have the positive sentence, the negative one, and also in the question form. So when you go over, you will get to know how these things are said. You have some examples here. So if we say, for instance, L dash finir says devoir ce soir, what do you think should be the correct thing? Any idea? L dash finir says devoir ce soir. What do you think will be the correct answer there in the middle? What will you put there? L dash finir. If we are using aller, we are supposed to conjugate aller plus the infinitive. So what do you think will be there? If you don't know how to conjugate aller, what is the answer?
Va.
Très bien. So elle va finir ses devoirs ce soir. Next one. Nous dash voyager en France l'été prochain. Nous dash
Allons.
voyager en France. What's the answer?
Nous allons.
Allons.
Nous allons, très bien. So there allons because it's nous. Then il dash regarder un film demain. Il. You see this il is what third person plural. So let's see the answer we are going to choose. Il dash regarder un film demain. What will be the correct answer? Il, ILS, ILS.
Vont.
Bon, ok, très bien. So, bon. Yeah. Then tu dash manger avec ta famille ce soir. Ce soir. Tu dash manger avec ta famille ce soir.
Je
Va.
vais.
Ok, très bien. And so we come to je vais sortir ce soir. What will be the negative? You can tell us. Je vais sortir ce soir. We have learned how to do it in the negative. So how are you going to do it?
Je ne vais pas sortir ce soir.
Très bien. Je ne vais pas sortir ce soir. Yeah, so always the verb must come between the ne and the pas. Je ne vais pas sortir ce soir. Then we have tu vas partir demain. Tu vas partir demain. So what should be the negative? Tu vas sortir. Yeah. Tu vas partir demain. What should be the correct one? For the negative.
Tu ne
Any
vas,
answer?
tu ne vas pas partir demain.
Okay, tu ne vas pas partir demain. Très bien. I hope you are all on the same page. It's like some of you have not opened your mouth, even for fresh air. I've not heard some people. Eh? Are we all okay? Are we getting it? I hope it's not only a few people who are okay. Are we all on the same page? Est-ce que vous comprenez?
It's
Okay, that's fine. Then we have elle va travailler. Elle va travailler or elle va travailler. What do you think is the negative? Elle va travailler. Elle va travailler.
c'est
Okay, go ahead.
Elle va pas travailler.
Elle ne va pas.
Elle ne va pas travailler.
Yeah, très bien. Elle ne va pas travailler. We have said that always be the aller normally has what? It must come between the negative form. So ne pas. So between the ne and the pas, then that's where we have the va. So that's it. Then ils vont danser or ils vont danser. What to be the negative?
Ils ne vont pas danser.
Ils ne vont pas danser, très bien. Ils ne vont pas danser. So here too we have vont, but the ne and the pas must come between the or come around the vont. Okay, then we go to how to ask the question. Tu vas étudier. What do you think we'll ask the question? If we want to put it in a question form, tu vas étudier.
Est-ce que tu vas étudier?
Très bien. Est-ce que tu vas étudier? C'est ça. So we are saying you should introduce it with est-ce que. Est-ce que. So, est-ce que tu vas étudier? And then we go to nous allons voyager. What will be the question? Nous allons voyager. This is very simple.
Est-ce
How would we
que,
ask the question with
est-ce
nous allons
que,
voyager?
est-ce que, hmm,
Who can tell us?
est-ce que nous allons voyager?
Yeah, that is it. Very simple. Okay. So then we have il va manger. So the question will be what? Est-ce qu'il va? Because here il starts with what? A vowel. So it will be est-ce qu'il va. It will not be est-ce qu'il va. Est-ce qu'il va manger? Est-ce qu'il va manger? Then we have vous allez sortir. That will be what? Est-ce que vous allez sortir? C'est clair? Yeah, so we have seen the positive one, the sentence, or the affirmative. We have the negative. Then how to ask you the questions. Okay. Then we are saying that le futur proche is what? Actions happening soon or planned. We have talked about it already. More certain imminent events formed with what? Is also formed with aller plus infinitive. Then common in what? Spoken everyday French. Normally we use it in the when we are speaking. Then we have talked about the future simple is different from the future proche. So this is just for you to know the difference between the future proche and the future simple. So for the future simple, which we saw last semester, that is for actions in the more distant future. Predictions, promises, hypotheses, formed with what? Also formed with infinitive plus what? Endings. Yeah, so there's infinitive, so that's how it is. And then common in written and formal French. So if I say for the future proche, we have an example like je vais partir dans 5 minutes. I am going to leave in 5 minutes. So that is very soon. Something that's going to happen. Then je partirai un jour en Amérique. This one is I will leave for America one day. So this one, kind of distance. The person is not aware or doesn't know when it's going to happen, but it feels that one day he or she will travel. So this is it. But for it, you need to know how to use the future proche. Okay. So the structure, we have said that, don't forget that, so always the structure is always the subject plus aller in the present tense plus the infinitive verb. Then only aller is conjugated. And always the aller is the only one thing that should be conjugated in the future proche. So that one is important. Then the infinitive never changes. And so the infinitive is what you want to say or the main verb in the action in the sentence. That one does not change. So if I say, for instance, je vais manger, manger is the infinitive and it doesn't change. You take note of that. Then for negatives, ne, pa, they always wrap the alley. So that's why I said that always the alley will be in the middle, then the ne and the pa will be around it. If you are given a negative sentence. Okay. Then ne becomes an apostrophe. I've said it already. Then also use with the time expressions like bientôt, demain, ce soir, la semaine prochaine, dans un moment. Yes. So, and reflexive verbs keep their pronoun. Use c'est laver and all those ones. Okay, so basically this is it for the future proche. Any questions And this reference book is there too. So in case you have it or you get it, you can use it to add to what we have given you. Yeah. Then that is it. Any question?
Sir, please, do you have this on the LMS? No.
Not yet. I can share it with you, but I've not put it there. I'll share it with you right now.
Okay, okay, okay.
So that your rep will give it to you. I'm sharing it very soon.
Okay, sir.
Any question? Any question? I hope it's clear. The main thing is that you should be able to conjugate Ali in the present tense, and always there should be a subject in your sentence. There should be an infinitive form of a verb, right? And if you know that one, then you can easily do the future push. It's a very simple thing. So I think I'll send it to Philip. Philip, I think you're the one who you sent me the link. And so, who is the rep? It's Philip, right?
Yeah, I'm the assistant. Kisling is the main course. I'm the
Uh,
assistant. So I'm the one who call you.
okay. Whichever. Okay, so when I share it, I'm sure it will still come soon. I'll share
Yes, yes.
that one with you right now. Okay. You can share with the class.
Oh, okay, sir.
So I believe we are okay. We are going to end it here, and we'll continue again next week. If there's no question for me, right? Sapas Usakas.
Sapa.
Sapas.
Pass.
Okay. All right. So I wish you a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and on se voit la semaine prochaine. Bon week-end pour avoir une bonne semaine. Au revoir. Bye bye.
Sir.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, so for we know you're supposed to have com skills now, but on this period, but unfortunately we are having some crashes. So we are still on it. So the com skills we'll be having it in the evening. The lecturer is saying um 8. But basic mechanic lecturer too is saying that we have to do it in the evening. So we'll communicate the time with you soon.